We are live. What is going on, everybody? We got a few things to talk about today, so let's get into it. Let's switch over to my face. What is up, everybody? Of course, we got to start off with the man, the myth, the legend, Ep.57. That all I forced the rhyme there. You saw what I did there? You saw what I did? I forced the rhyme. And of course, we got to start off with my man, Michael Buffer as well. So it's two legends. There's always two legends we start with. Ep.47 and Michael Buffer. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Let's start the show. And of course, we got every once in a while, my man's pops right in. Ricky J Sports. We love to see it, man. Thank you so much. Yo, I'm going to be playing UFC 5. I need to get some matches in with you. I need to get matches in with veterans because I never played these UFC games. The last MMA game that I actually played was EA MMA. So we got to get a game in or two. You know what I'm saying? Let's hit a Michael Buffer for Ricky J Sports real quick.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for showing up, man. Stopping by. All right, guys. All right, let's start this show. Tank by stoppage. Uh-oh. Now, we got to talk about this fight because for a while, a lot of people are thinking, well, Tank doesn't fight anybody. And that's true. He doesn't fight the top tiers, right? He never fights the top tiers. He fights because he doesn't have to. They figured out a way to market his knockouts as the thing that sells Tank Davis. You don't need to see him fight the number one guy. You don't need to see him become undisputed because you're not paying for that. You're paying to see him knock some guy out. And if it's a person you know, okay, good. If it's a person you don't know, okay, good. That's how they're viewing Tank Davis's career right now. That's how they're viewing Tank Davis's career. Don't BS me, man. This is huge if it's true. All right, I got a clip. I got a clip from one of Tank Davis's coaches. So you know over here, we don't just say, hey, look, we think the rumors say. We don't do that. We don't do that here. Everything has to have linking evidence to something substantial or something concrete where we could take steps forward to this happening. I believe with all of the little evidence that we have, all the little breadcrumbs, that there is some sort of a buildup or something happening negotiation-wise behind the scenes for an explosive 2024 with Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson. I truly believe this. Tank Davis is moving in the right direction. Tank Davis is, hold on. Y'all watching the fights on ESPN right now? Nah, there's fights on ESPN. I'm not watching that right now. Well, obviously, I'm not watching it, but yeah, I didn't even know. So, by the way, guys, I see some people here talking about Undisputed, the game. Can't talk about Undisputed, the game, because I am the content manager for Undisputed, so I cannot talk about it, but I know everybody's excited about the new stuff that's come out, but if you need any more information, all of the stuff, we're going to be putting it on our socials. So make sure you check out our Twitters and our TikToks and our YouTubes, because that's where we're going to put all the information. That's where we're going to give you guys all of the details for all the new stuff. All right. Fabrizio Pauletti, 10. I think Shakur dominates in a fight against Tank. Wait, hold on. David, yes, Xander Zayas is fighting tonight. Oh, nice. I didn't even know. That's the fight I'm looking forward to tonight. I didn't even know he was fighting on a Friday. Didn't know that. I don't know about Tank's low punch output versus Shakur's defense. It's going to be a tough one. But here we go. We've had little bits of evidence that something is happening on the back end, right? First of all, we have not heard any confirmation on the fight with Isaac Cruz. When is that going to happen? When are we going to get confirmed Isaac Cruz? When is he going to fight Isaac Cruz? All we've had was Calvin Ford say that, hey, the next guy I think is we want to do a rematch with Isaac Cruz. That's all we've gotten. right? Not to say that he's going to skip Isaac Cruz and go to Shakur, because Shakur got to fight. He might want to do a stay busy fight too. But they might also look at Isaac Cruz as a potential spoiler to mess up the money, because he didn't have an easy going the first time around. When asked, hey, are you going to fight Isaac Cruz again? He said, heck no, I ain't fighting Isaac Cruz again. But maybe after Isaac Cruz's performance recently, he's not looking all that hot. They probably like, yeah, let's go back and get him. Maybe it was a fluke night. All right. But here's the important thing. Now that Shakur is fighting Edwin De Los Santos, which that's going to be a cool fight. It's not going to be like amazing, but it's going to be a cool fight, right? Because Edwin De Los Santos has a lot of power. It's a good barometer to see what he does, what Shakur does with somebody who has a lot of power. I mean, the man has like 16 wins and 14 knockouts, so De Los Santos is really powerful. So him fighting De Los Santos and him almost about to fight Frank Martin already shows that he's right there in terms of he doesn't need to continuously fight people in Top Rank. It not only does it prove that he doesn't need to do it, it also proves that the head honcho, the person that matters, Bob Arum, doesn't need to do it. And we played the audio clip from Seconds Out a few live streams ago where Bob Arum said he's willing to go and fight PBC fighters for Shakur. He's willing to bring Shakur over. Remember, before he said he's not a gambler. He's not going to gamble with Shakur. He don't do that. So he's going to fight in-house fights because at that time, they had good in-house fights. Now, there's good fights that he can make when he's collaborating with the PBC, like a Frank Martin, like a De Los Santos, and of course, like a Gervonta Tank Davis. It is possible now that Devin Haney is moving up to 140, that he gets stripped of all of the titles, right? If he gets stripped of all of the titles, because Tank Davis is the WBA regular, he might get elevated to WBA super. Now, if Shakur wins the WBC belt, that lines him up to unify against Tank Davis. It's a perfect setup for him to unify against Tank Davis. And he's won the WBA before at 130. So this is a really good setup for both Shakur and Tank to fight. But also, that's not it. On about 3 days ago, and credit to Marco Boxing from his YouTube channel, Marco Boxing, he interviewed one of Tank Davis's coach, Kenny Ellis, not the head trainer, not Calvin Ford, but one of his coaches, Kenny Ellis, one from the coaching team. And this is what he said. Let me go make sure that you guys have the audio. All right, this is what he said in this conversation.
What promotion is he with?
It's GTD.
Okay.
Yeah, Al Heyman is his advisor.
Okay. So, I mean, does that prevent certain fights from happening?
Not on our end. Not on our end.
So who would, if you could choose?
So even before he's about to say even more specific stuff. But even before that, he's indicating that on their end, they don't have a problem making fights. Bob Arum is indicating on his end, they don't have a problem making fights. This is getting closer and closer to a potential super fight that is possible between Shakur and Tank. And let's see what he ends up saying even after that.
Choose who you'd want to fight next. It would be Shakur?
Or either Haney, because that's what the fans want to see. And they the last three of the, Mount Rushmore.
Right.
Not that,
right.
I'm calling them out. No, it's not a beef thing. It's them and then the next generation. Whoever they want to see after that,
It's boxing, yeah. I mean, you want to fight.
It won't look right if Tank skip them and fight some new guys on the scene, or Shakur skip Tank, fight new guys, or Haney skip Shakur and fight new guys on the scene. When 3 or 4 years ago it was just them.
Right.
Right.
All right. That is his trainer or one of his coaches, that means he's not going to just be saying that on a whim. They talk. They talk to each other. They communicate with each other. They're constantly communicating with each other. For him to feel this confident about or talk in the vein that he is talking, where it ain't right for Shakur to skip Tank, it ain't right for Tank to skip Shakur, they got to fight each other. He's saying that on his side, there ain't no issue with working with the PBC. Bob Arum is now working with the PBC when he was adamantly never, definitely not trying to work with them. This looks like there are things happening right in front, like in plain sight, where they're moving towards a potential super fight with Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson. This clearly, in my opinion, is giving me vibes that everything is a setup for them two to come together, and I can't imagine a better year for them to do it than 2024. I can't imagine a better year for them to do it than 2024. The way he's talking, the way Bob Arum is talking, even the silence on the Isaac Cruz rematch, what's going on with that? That's also giving me a more confidence that this fight is going to happen, right? The fact that Shakur Stevenson is fighting a PBC fighter, all of this has a really strong sense of there's a cross-promotional mega fight in the works, and that cross-promotional mega fight might be Tank Davis versus Shakur Stevenson. What do you guys think after hearing that audio? Do you guys feel more hopeful that that fight is going to happen, or do you guys still think that Tank Davis is going to keep on fighting nobodies? This is the thing. You could only do that shtick for so long. You could, he's going to make good money, but he's not going to make Ryan Garcia money no more. Because Ryan Garcia was an anomaly. He was the perfect opponent where he wasn't all that crazy, super skillful enough to give him super problems, but he was popular because of social media. So he was like the perfect opponent where there was super interest in there, and it got them over the line to the 1.2 million. He's not going to find another Ryan Garcia. That's a once in once in every, you know what I'm saying? Once in a generation type fighter where they're popular, but they're not that skilled, right? Normally you're popular because of skill, and that bleeds over. That's not what happened with Ryan Garcia. He was popular first before he was even doing anything in boxing, right? While he was in boxing or coming into the ranks and starting his whole career, he was already becoming popular on social media. So that's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of situation. Tank ain't going to get that again. But they probably sniffed that 1.2 million, and they're like, holy smokes, we can cross the 1 million mark. Now, are they going to start to apply the Floyd Mayweather strategy to keep Tank's numbers going? Because if they look at it through a strategic lens, they can say to themselves, okay, Tank already sells on his own. If we give him a dance partner, we're securing over 1 million buys. If we give him a dance partner, we're securing over 1 million buys. If he goes and fights an Isaac Cruz, how much does he regress from 1 million? He's going to regress. He's going to regress. But how much? They might be thinking to themselves, it's time to actually enact the Floyd Mayweather strategy. And if you haven't been in my live streams before, what's the Floyd Mayweather strategy, you ask? The Floyd Mayweather strategy, even, contrary to a lot of people who hate Floyd, is actually fight all the best fighters in the world. That's the Floyd Mayweather strategy. Actually get in the ring with all the best fighters in the world, so you now have the element of a possibility of losing that adds to the entertainment value. It adds to the excitement value. It also brings all of the diehards in waves to talk about your fight. That type of conversation. Here's the thing that people don't understand. Diehards don't matter on a numerical sense. In a number by number basis, diehards don't matter. In a number by number basis, diehards don't matter. If you're looking at the specific eyeballs attached to people, diehards don't matter because we go and watch no matter what, right? But when it comes to creating buzz, diehards matter. Because the diehard boxing fan is the fandom that the regular casual fans look towards to see if something matters or doesn't matter. Die-hard boxing fans are the fandom that lets people know, oh, is this a big fight? That's the reason why Errol Spence could do maybe 300,000 pay-per-view buys, but when he fights Terrence Crawford, where before the fight, nobody really knew Terrence, like casuals didn't know him. They knew him somewhat, but they didn't know him like that. When he fights Terrence Crawford, they're doing over 760,000 pay-per-view buys. He's more than doubling his pay-per-view buys. He's more than doubling it. Do you think the casual fans are just super knowledgeable about boxing and they're like, oh, now I know this is a super fight. I've been waiting for this fight. No. The only reason they've been waiting for that fight, they know it's a super fight because the buzz it trickles, it bleeds out from the diehard fans. It bleeds out from the diehard fans. The only reason Floyd was doing 1 million pay-per-view buys plus was because he was fighting the best fighters in the world. He was fighting Shane Mosley. He was fighting Miguel Cotto. He was fighting Manny Pacquiao. He was fighting Oscar De La Hoya. He was fighting an undefeated Ricky Hatton. He was fighting the best guys. He was fighting Canelo Alvarez. That's the Floyd Mayweather strategy because he wasn't a knockout artist like Tank is. But even with Tank being a knockout artist, he don't got the Mike Tyson whole thing where he could just be doing mad pay-per-view numbers because he's knocking out people. He can't do that. He's doing good numbers in comparison to everyone else. But for him to do like crazy numbers, like what he did with Ryan Garcia, he needs a dance partner. And I think that Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis going across the 1 million mark has turned a light bulb on with the Tank camp and with Floyd Mayweather. And now they're starting to think we're going to have to start figuring out how do we just not only cash in on his knockouts, but cash in on the potential that he could lose a fight. And the only way you do that is by the buzz created by the diehards if you put him in there with a dance partner. Casuals might not know Shakur Stevenson that much, but if a Shakur Stevenson in a Tank fight gets announced, it's on ESPN, it's on this channel, it's on Fox Sports, a bunch of people start talking about it, it gets risen up. People from the MMA community starts talking about it. It starts bleeding even more. More fans keep having this conversation. They do a press tour that's pretty out there. News outlets from everywhere are covering it. Is going to be able to help them cross the 1 million mark. If he fights Eastside Cruz, they're not going to be talking about it like that. They're not going to be talking about it like that. That's why the diehards bleed in to the casual market. And we dictate what's a good fight and what isn't a good fight. That's the reason why 780,000 pay-per-view buys, Canelo versus Caleb Plant. Do you think that the casuals knew who Caleb Plant was? But do you also think that they could get to 780,000 pay-per-view buys? Because you got to also factor in all of the pirating. You think they could get to 780,000 pay-per-view buys without casuals bleeding into that? No. This is why it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And now listening to his coaches talking in that vein, seeing Bob Arum being open to cross-promoting, seeing his coaches being open to cross-promoting, saying there's no problem on their side doing a cross-promotion, seeing them wanting the fight to happen, not just saying, yeah, it could happen, anything could happen in boxing, not just saying stuff like that, actually putting context like, it would be wrong for Tank to skip over Shakur. It would be wrong for Shakur to skip over Tank. I think we have a potential, a possibility where before it felt impossible, now it feels very possible in my mind. With the whole development of everything that's happening with the cross promotion of the fight that's happening with De Los Santos and the possible fight that could have happened with Frank Martin, and now the what we're hearing from Tank Davis's coach himself. This is a big deal, guys. Let me go to the comment section right quick. Hold on. Adrian Dones in the house. What's going on, brother? We love to have you here, man. We love to have you here. Xander fights tonight. Yes, he does. Is he on? It's on ESPN, man. Nah, I can't because I've only scheduled myself for an hour. I can't. Haney don't want it. I can see Shakur taking the fight. Haney don't want it. Yeah, I can see. Yeah. Bill Haney, he was on a podcast, so there was some type of an interview that I don't know if it leaked, but it surfaced, where he's talking about how Teofimo would beat Tank easily, just in the same way he beat Lomachenko. And I think about boxing with looking at it through the lens of the politics of boxing. What is in it for him? What is in it for Bill Haney to say that Teofimo, the Teofimo that didn't want to fight Devin Haney and didn't want to give Devin Haney an opportunity before for the titles, what's in it for Bill Haney to say, oh, Teofimo would beat Tank easy at like the same way he beat Lomachenko? What is in it for him? What's in it for him? I'll tell you. He's not going to move back down. Devin Haney is not moving back down to 135. If anybody thought that was happening, just throw that out the window. He is trying to set the stage so that he don't have to fight Tank. He could be like, oh, Teofimo is better than Tank, and we about to fight Teofimo. Look what he just did to Josh Taylor. I think after the Regis Prograis is a somewhat tune-up fight. I know it sounds a little bit disrespectful to Regis Prograis, but that's how Devin Haney is looking at him. He's looking at him as a somewhat of a tune-up fight, and that is going to allow him to then look towards Teofimo and then have a big fight with Teofimo at 140. And he could start collecting belts like that because he's going to get the WBC with Regis, and then he's going to go for the WBO with Teofimo. And then the other two belts, they're pretty easy to get, in my opinion, at 140. So that's what it's looking like. And I think Bill Haney saying that is almost, because this is the thing, boxing is all politics. It's all politics. So when somebody says something that's off the wall, it's never off the wall. There's always intent behind what they say in the public space. If they say it in an interview, they're saying it for a reason. If Bill Haney is saying that Teofimo Lopez that has no stock, he has no stock in Teofimo Lopez. If he's saying Teofimo Lopez, the dude that wasn't giving his son an opportunity, would beat Tank easy the same way he beat Loma, they're setting up for a Devin Haney versus Teofimo fight. So that's probably the next fight that Devin Haney's going to have. Devin Haney has no thoughts of trying to fight Shakur. There is no Devin Haney Shakur at 135. So just forget about that. There's no Shakur Devin Haney at 135. Forget about that. Forget about it. Don't even think about it. Don't even bring it up. Don't even bring it up. They gonna fight. But now at 135, there is a Shakur and there is a Tank Davis. And I think after that fight with Ryan Garcia, I think that his team might start to look towards a pivot so that they could keep making that type of money. And the only way they're going to make that type of money is if they fight a dance partner. There has to be a risk of losing. It can no longer be sold on, here's a knockout again. You know this guy, you don't know that guy, right? But it's okay if you don't know him because Tank gonna get the knockout, right? Am I right? So 220,000 pay-per-view buys. Okay, that's cute money now for Tank. He went from 270,000 pay-per-view buys to 1.2 million. 1.2 million. That's big. That's big. Cautiously optimistic. Yeah, but we're closer now than we ever been before. Remember, Bob Arum wasn't willing to make Shakur versus Tank. Now he is. Now he is. And now we're hearing from the coach himself, from Tank Davis's coach, that they want to fight Shakur Stevenson. It's the pieces are falling into place for this super mega fight. No boxing. I won't be happy till I see some concrete evidence, announcement, or breaking it. Well, obviously, I mean, that's just the fight is done. Like that's the fight. That's the fight is set for 2024. If we see that type of stuff. Right now, we're looking at credible sources to piece together evidence to see if this is even possible. A few years back, this was not possible. They were selling Tank on his knockouts. Him fighting Ryan Garcia could shift and pivot their thought process so they could start making the million pay-per-view buys. On top of that, Bob Arum did not want to work with the PBC. He considered that gambling. Now he is confident in Shakur, especially after the Jamel Herring fight, the Oscar Valdez fight, the Robson Conseca fight, the Yoshina fight. He's confident in Shakur. And he's willing to use Shakur as like a soldier to go out there and like knock down his competition. That's basically, I think, Bob Arum's motivation. Oh, I'm going to send Shakur out there and he's going to knock down all my competition because he's going to fight all these guys from all these other promotions and I'm going to be sitting pretty with the best one. He's thinking of it differently now because he knows he's been burned in the past because he ain't never make those super big fights like Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd. Manny Pacquiao left. He didn't get to make Floyd versus Oscar De La Hoya. Floyd Mayweather left. He's not doing that now. Now he's probably thinking, I'm going to be part of that. I'm going to be part of that. Wait, hold up. Is Shakur's next fight going to be promoted by PBC or Top Rank? It's going to be promoted by Top Rank. Top Rank will hold the promotional stuff. So it's going to be on ESPN. It's going to be Top Rank stuff. But it is a cross-promotional fight. Both parties, the PBC and Top Rank, came together. But sometimes you can make it like double, like promoted at the same time, where it's like when it was Showtime and HBO and they came together. They could do that here as well, but it's not a big enough fight for that to be a viable thing. So just one person carry the promotion just makes more sense. Shakur being the star, Top Rank, it makes more sense for Top Rank to run the promotion. But it shows that they are cross-promoting. They are working with each other. If he was to do a Tank versus Shakur Stevenson fight, the promotional company, the one that'll be holding the event, will probably be Showtime and PBC. It'll probably be Showtime and PBC. And Bob, again, he's all right with that. He wants that fight. He wants that fight. I have been to 2 Tank fights. Tank has a connection to his fan base. He's the second biggest name in America next to Canelo. Yeah, and you could argue, depending on how much numbers these pay-per-views do for Canelo versus Jermell Charlo, that he might be the number one biggest name in America. It's arguable because he could point at the 1.2 million. And if he has a really good dance partner, his next fight, where he could hit 1 million again, it will be without question. He will be the common denominator. It's just like when Floyd fought Oscar De La Hoya. They're like, yeah, sure, you could do that money against Oscar De La Hoya because it's Oscar De La Hoya that sold it. Look at you. Your last fight was with your pay-per-view with Carlos Baldomir, barely did anything. And then he went and fought Ricky Hatton. He did over 1 million. Then he came back and fought Juan Manuel Marquez. He did over $1 million. So it's ripe for the picking right now, and he could definitely cement himself or put his feet down, plant his feet as the face of boxing. He could plant his feet as the face of boxing if he gets a dance partner, but that's important. He needs a dance partner. But Shakur, I don't think his name is big enough yet. But we talking 2024. We talking 2024, and I think his name is big enough to get him over the 1 million because of the bleed over. I'm telling you, the diehard fans dictate the casual fans. Believe it or not, it's not the other way around. The diehard fans dictate the casual fans. Why you think Oscar versus Floyd did so much on pay-per-view? Because people knew Floyd was the truth. You think the casual fans knew that Floyd was the truth? Or you think the diehard fans knew that Floyd was the truth? And because the diehard fans know that Floyd's the truth, other outlets pick it up. And that bleeds into the casuals. ESPN, Fox Sports, all these different sports channels and sports things that people can see on a daily basis, they pick it up, and that gives it more credibility. That is the reason why an unknown Terrence Crawford to the casual fans was able to pull 760,000 pay-per-views versus Errol Spence in the pirating era. Adjusted for pirating, this thing probably made like 1.5 million if you adjust for pirating. For the ease of use of pirating now in comparison to back in the early 2000s and stuff like that. 17 watching, only 2 likes. Come on, guys. Yeah, now we up to 21, but we only got 10 likes. If we could get them likes up, man. Hey, yo, the live stream we did on Wednesday, it started to get views like crazy after the fact. People watch these live streams on video on demand. They watch them after they launch. Like in the convenience of whenever they're ready. Like maybe some people are sleeping, some people are working or whatever, or what have you, whatever it is. They like to watch these lives. Sometimes they don't watch the live streams live, but when you hit the like, it helps push the live streams to others. Let's grow this channel so we can have more unbiased boxing channels. More unbiased boxing channels that just tell you the analytics or analyzing what we're seeing in terms of the boxers and present that to you guys, and not behind an echo chamber, behind groupthink or anything like that. That's important. That's important. The YouTube landscape and the social media landscape is riddled with echo chamber, groupthink channels around boxing. And I hate that. I think it's just annoying. It's annoying. I can't. It bothers me. So here we're unbiased. There's not many channels like this that exist. So let's try to get this channel up so we can spread the news and talk about reliable information coming from reliable sources, not making stuff up, not sugarcoating, not cherry picking. We need good, like level-headed, straight to you, no BS boxing podcasting. And that's what we are here. So hit the like so people can keep finding this. You know what I'm saying? So people can keep finding these videos. I'm telling you, the Crawford video, the live stream we did, that thing started taking off way after. Like a day later, it started taking off. The next day, people started watching it like crazy. And that's what we need to be doing for all the live streams. Thank you. I'm seeing the likes go up, by the way. Let me hit you out with the Michael Buffer for that.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Shakur needs a setup fight. De Los Santos fight is interesting. I like De Los Santos. Yeah. A De Los Santos fight is going to be good because, one, he's working with the PBC in this one. So there's also that feeling of how does it feel to work with the PBC, right? Because we just see the fight, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Because there's going to be some stuff that's connected. Although it's being brought to you by Top Rank and all that stuff, there's some stuff behind the scenes that we don't see, but it lets them understand the relationship that they're going to have if they do a cross-promotional fight like a Tank Davis fight. So it's going to be interesting on the front of the fight, but also on the front of that collaboration happening for the first time. Tank will beat Shakur that night. Shakur going to be too weak and malnourished. Tank will bring those stipulations through the roof. Only way it gets made. I see Shakur beating Tank. I see Shakur beating Tank. Power is not everything. Tank has skills, but Shakur has way more skills. And in this fight, it's going to be interesting. We're going to see what Shakur does when he's fighting somebody with power. Does Shakur have... It looks like Shakur doesn't get rocked. Like, I've not seen him get rocked, but then again, I've rarely seen him get hit. So, it's one of those things where maybe we see something in this fight against De Los Santos. Does Shakur get hit? And then if he does get hit and he gets caught, does he weather that storm? Is he good at weathering the storm? Or is he just so good that a person with power, that's still not enough to throw him off his game? Because sometimes you could be a power puncher, and even though you don't land your power shot, just the fact that you're a power puncher throws the other fighter off their game because they're not going to be doing overcommitting stuff that they don't normally do. Let's see. That's an interesting scenario. Yes. Tank versus O'Malley next. I don't know. That's not going to happen. That's not happening, bro. Come on now. If they do that, I mean, I guess if they do that, that would make a lot of money. Man, I hate these MMA crossovers. Nah, but I don't think, man. I don't think that's too crazy. Like, come on now. That's way too. You normally do that when you are almost retired, when you're like semi-retired, not when you're in the middle of your career. No. Tyson Fury did it, and Floyd Mayweather did it at the end of their careers as they're getting out of the sport. Not when you're in the middle of your career. I refuse to believe that they're willing to do that. I know Frank O'Malley what's his name? Is it Frank O'Malley? Sean O'Malley. I know Sean O'Malley probably wants that paycheck, but right now I don't think that that's a good fight for Tank. I don't. So what we talking about? If you rewatch the video, we had the audio with the conversation from Marco. I want to make sure I give the correct credit. For Marco Boxing, who interviewed Kenny Ellis, one of Tank Davis's coaches, and he stated that he wants to see Tank versus Shakur. He does not want Tank to skip over Shakur. He does not want Shakur to skip over Tank. This is big because we also have Bob Arum, who's saying that he's willing to work with the PBC. And not only is he saying that, he's also putting it in practice because they're working with the PBC for the Edwin De Los Santos fight. So this is big, man. This is big. This is showing that we were in a space where it couldn't happen because Tank wasn't fighting stars or he wasn't fighting like legitimate fighters. He was only fighting with the regular belt. But also, Haney moving up, he's gonna get stripped of the WBA at some point, especially if he fights Teofimo next. If he fights Teofimo next, there's no way that they're going to keep the WBA on him. They'll take the WBA away. Guess who gets elevated to super? Tank Davis. Tank Davis gets elevated to super. Now there's a legitimate possibility for a mandatory or for some type of a fight setup for both Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis to fight. This is all. I'm telling you, the pieces are falling into place for this super fight to take place. The pieces are falling into place for the super fight to take place. And there's still profit to be made after the super fight. Because whoever wins, they can move up to 140. Shakur can move up to 140, and Tank already fought at 140. And 140 is hot. 140 is also hot. We got Tio up there. We got Haney up there. It's hot. Josh Taylor could get a Josh Taylor fight. You could do a Regis Prograis fight. It's hot up there. So it's looking good. It's looking good. So it's not even like the end of the road. It's something that can springboard either fighter, whoever wins. They can springboard off of that. Haney versus Shakur going to be one of them fights we got too little too late. Nah. Oh, Haney. Yeah. I thought he was talking about Tank. Yeah, Haney versus Shakur. That is going to be. Because even if Shakur wins, I can't see him moving up. Because in his mind, I know he's not gonna feel that there will be a guarantee that Haney would fight him if he moves up. So he would have to, it will be tough. He'll be safer being at 135, just getting the belts, than moving up unnecessarily and then not being able to unify or not fighting Tank, right? Because Tank is little. He could fight at 140, but he don't need to go to 140. He's little. Not quite ready for the tough competition. Spence lost. Tank will be protected for a while. He's been protected for a while. I think that he's never fought any of the tough competition. He always fights adjacent to all the top fighters, right? Everybody was fighting for undisputed up there. T.O. at 135. T.O., Loma, Devin Haney, they all wanted undisputed. But he ain't care about it. Like, it wasn't even a conversation. Like, people would put him in the thing, but no one was, like, realistically trying to see him fight or asking him questions about fighting, for undisputed. Because that's not what he does. His whole shtick was knockouts. But his shtick being knockouts only gave him around 200 and something thousand pay-per-view buys. You don't think that they want that million pay-per-view from all the money they have invested in Tank and the fact that they could start cashing him out for real now? And they know that the best way to do that is with a dance partner. That's the best way to do that stuff. With a dance partner. They're not going to do it with Isaac Cruz rematch. They not. We have not heard anything official about that rematch yet. And maybe they're thinking, do we do this rematch? Does it make sense? Do we hold off? We've already fought twice this year. We're good. Do we hold off and wait till next year? And next year, do we set up something big? And what's the biggest thing you could set up? Maybe a Lomachenko fight. Okay. But a Shakur fight would be even bigger, in my opinion. Lomachenko fight could be big, actually. Lomachenko fight might be bigger than Shakur fight. But, yeah, it might be bigger. And Lomachenko might want to do that, too. That's a possibility. But Lomachenko's kind of like, we don't know. He's hot and he's cold. Who he want to fight? He might say yes. That's gonna look super sus if he says yes to a Tank. But he didn't want to fight a Shakur Stevenson. But it is what it is. I think that's a possible angle for them as well. If they want a dance partner, they go after a Lomachenko. That's a possible angle. No one is interested in Tank versus O'Malley. Tank would sleep him quick. Of course. PBC/Showtime doesn't have enough stars for that. Doesn't have enough stars for what? What are your thoughts on Xander? I think he's an amazing talent. He had a little bit of trouble in his last fight, but I do think he's an amazing talent. Shakur is and he's young too. Shakur is the real boogeyman. Of course, he's the boogeyman of boxing, period. Not even just of 135, of boxing. Ain't nobody was ducked by that many high-level fighters consecutively. No one. We talking about Zepeda, Isaac Cruz, Zepeda, Lomachenko, Devin Haney, and Frank Martin. That's unheard of. Nobody's that good except Shakur Stevenson. Shakur need to get on the game and shall be mentioned. Oh my gosh. Yo, what up? Gettins Gaming, what's going on? Much respect. I guess everything is falling into place. No one's trying to fight Shakur, but for Haney, undisputed shot for 20 to 25% is worth it. Shakur gonna fight Tank for a regular belt. Nah, see, this is the thing, Gettins. Tank would probably get elevated to WBA Super, because he's the WBA regular champion. And that's normally what they do when they strip the super champion and it becomes vacant. It just defaults right to the WBA regular champion. That will allow for Shakur Stevenson to fight for an official super world title so that he could go for undisputed if he wants, right? So that's why I'm saying everything, the stars are aligning for a Tank versus Shakur. I know it sounds impossible because we've been so used to this in boxing, plus it's Tank, right? He seems somewhat protected, but it's all falling into place. Bob Arum is open to fighting with the PBC. The PBC is open to fighting with Bob Arum. Even they was going to feed Bob Arum, they was going to feed him Frank Martin. You don't think they're open to putting a Tank fight together? Of course. And then we also got Tank's coach saying that he wants to see Tank versus Shakur. He don't want them skipping over each other. He wants them to fight each other. So we getting people from the camp that's within his coaching team saying it. We're getting Bob Arum saying he's willing to cross over. We're seeing them actually cross over. Devin Haney's going to get stripped of the belt, so the WBA is probably going to elevate Tank to super, making him an official belt, and then Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis can fight for a unification fight. WBC belt after he beats De Los Santos, the WBC belt versus the WBA belt. Or for the WBA belt to unify. I'm telling you, it's falling into place. I think 2024, this is very possible. What do you think about Spence and Crawford news? They saying Bud wants more money. Who's saying that? That nobody said that. We talked about it in the they're just saying it like the regular people are saying that Bud said he wants more money. But Bud can't ask for him. All Bud can do is determine if it's going to be at 147 or 154. That's all Bud could do. In terms of the money, that's all already been established. The money, the split or whatever, it was determined the winner of the first fight is going to get more money in the second fight. So that whole thing is under control in terms of the money. I don't know who ASAP TV is saying this, but hold on. What? Also, a credible source on YouTube saying Bud wants boots next. A credible source on who's the credible source on YouTube? If it's a YouTuber, that ain't a credible source. That if it's a YouTuber ASAP, that ain't a credible source, man. This is what's giving us these sources right here, bro. I've checked over and over again. Mike Coppinger was just interviewed. And he even said that because it was a rematch clause, the person, all of that stuff, the split, the money has all been negotiated. The only thing that's up in the air is if Bud wants to fight at 147 or if Bud wants to fight at 154. That's it. Or if Bud wants to fight at a different weight. Bud gets to pick the weight. The only thing that could create a snag in the negotiations is what weight Bud wants to go to. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing. The YouTubers, bro, with YouTube. That's why whenever I'm saying a story or not a story, a news out thing to you, or you guys, even right now when I'm talking about the possibility of a Tank versus Shakur, it's not just me sitting here and going, oh, Tank. You could see it in his face, and look how he's hitting the punching bag. He wants Shakur. I'm not making stuff up. I'm getting reliable, actual sources. If one of his coaches are interviewed, if Bob Arum is interviewed, if Shakur Stevenson is interviewed, that's the sources that I'm looking at, the direct sources. If we get somebody like Mike Coppinger come out and say, oh, you know what, the fight is going to be made, they're talking about it, that's a reliable source because he's on the inside. If we get Dan Raphael to come out and say something, if we get Mike Benson to come out and say something, then those are reliable sources that we're looking for. They're reliable sources. And I see the one-time Coppinger, the one-time Coppinger tells the truth. Even if you don't like Coppinger, he's a source, right? He's a source. He might have an opinion on something, but he's an actual realistic source that gets information given to him so that he can bring it out to the public. Him, Dan Raphael, Mike Benson, they're reliable sources. They're reliable sources. A YouTuber just chilling in his house, he ain't no reliable source. He ain't no reliable source. Unless it is possible that a YouTuber can get sources from, direct, right? Depending on if they're big, they can get direct. So that's possible. But when if nothing comes out of it, then you know that is weird. We can't. It's gonna be hard to substantiate what he's saying if the fight gets made and there's no problems and they fight at 154. Then what? If somebody says, "Oh, I have a reliable source. This is going to happen," and then like the next day or 2 days later it happens, then that person did get information from a reliable source because it's too coincidental. But if somebody's just saying something and then it's whatever, no, No, they're not until we get it from like a actual source, like an ESPN. ESPN is also a reliable source. Until we get it from that, something like that, it's not reliable, bro. It's not. Anthony Murchison, how you doing? How you doing, brother? Thank you for showing up, man. Thank you so much. We love it. Yo, Fire, what's up, brother? What's up? LMAO, Haney ducked Shakur by sending a contract. That's funny. Oh, so nobody has ever ducked anybody by sending a contract? Nobody said, first of all, he didn't send a contract, by the way. A contract was not sent. Make sure that you at least get that correct, Gunnins. A contract was not sent to Shakur. A conversation, over the phone conversation suggested 25%. That's it. No lawyer was put to make a contract to write up. Lawyers were not paid to write up a contract. So they was not spending money on this 25% offer. So believe how much you want of that being real, but it more than likely wasn't. It was a political. You don't have to just duck by straight up saying, I duck you. And you press the button and now everybody knows you duck. That's not how people, it's politics, bro. It's politics. It's no different than the presidential candidates trying to become president. It's politics. They're going to tell you all of these different, they're going to do things to like, they're going to tell you platitudes and stuff. They're going to do things for you to make them president. That's it. That's it. It don't mean that they really meant those things or they care about those things or they're going to do those things. They just trying to become president. And it's the same thing in boxing. It's highly political. He wanted to move up to 140. He didn't want to deal with Shakur. He wanted a piece of thing to be able to be like, I tried. I'm out. And that's what it was. You knew that Shakur was not going to take the 25% offer. And the thing that you guys get wrong is that y'all think that Shakur turned down the 25% offer. Shakur didn't turn it down. Shakur just said, nah, let's see a different number. It's called negotiating. But the moment Shakur was like, oh, let's try a different number. Let's do maybe, I don't know what he said. Maybe he said 35%. Maybe he said 40%. I don't know. But the moment they were like, 25%, you just said no, that's it, we're gone. That's not negotiating, bro. That's not negotiating. And if Shakur didn't want the fight, then why would Shakur push for them to do a mandatory for the WBC to mandate that Devin Haney fight Shakur Stevenson if Shakur didn't want the fight? And the mandate would just put Shakur at 30%, just 5% more than the 25%. So if Shakur didn't want to fight Devin Haney, if he truly didn't want to fight him, then what's the point of actually putting in a petition to mandate that Devin Haney fight Shakur for the WBC championship? That would make zero sense if he didn't want the fight. Clearly, Shakur wanted to continue negotiating, wanted the fight, but Devin Haney gave him that one number over the phone and just hung up after he said, well, maybe click. That's what happened. He stopped talking to him. And that was in the letter sent to the WBC, where they tried multiple times to communicate and to continue to negotiate, but they no longer want to negotiate further. It's not like, come on, bro. You have to understand. People duck using little offers and stuff like that when they're not really serious about the offer. Who's to say that if Shakur was like, all right, I'll take 25%, that Devin Haney would even fight him? Who's to say? Nobody knows. Devin Haney ain't fight him when he was mandated to fight him. He moved up and dropped the belt and he's now no longer undisputed. That's how badly he wanted to be at 140. He was willing to stay at 135 for Lomachenko, but he's not willing to stay at 135 for Shakur Stevenson. He didn't have to fight Lomachenko. He already won the belt and defended the belt. He didn't have to fight Lomachenko. I disagree that Tank is protected. You don't think Tank is protected? You think Tank versus Rolly Romero was a legitimate fight to find out who the best at 135 is? You don't think Grand Regent, you don't think Tank is protected? I'm not saying protected in the way that they just, I'm saying protected in the way that he don't fight the top fighters. He don't fight the top fighters. I think Tank stopped all the guys Haney, Tio, and Shakur have fought. But why don't he fight? Why don't he fight them? He don't fight top contenders. He don't fight top contenders. Why not? We got Jay Shep in the building. What's going on, brother? Facts, this year has made them crossovers possible. Crazy year for the sport. Yeah, 100%. My barber told me Bud wants more Anthony Merchant with the barber, man. Yo, that's the number one source, bro, right there, the barbers. If it's YouTuber, it ain't a credible source. As a YouTuber, this is a painful truth. I mean, it is true. That's why I don't use myself as a source. I've never used, when I talk about something here, I use a reliable source. Like if I'm going to talk about boxing news, I'm using a reliable source. I'm not going to hypothesize and do all this. I'm going to give my opinions, but I'm going to use a reliable source. I could say I want this person to fight this person. I won't say this person is going to fight this person without a reliable source. I just won't. I just won't do it. I'd be careful with all those guys as it relates to PBC. PBC only deals with certain media people. PBC deals with... I've seen them break news in terms of like a Tank Davis fight. I've seen Mike Coppinger and Mike Benson break the news of those kind of things. I've seen it happen. They'll say, "Oh, you know, reports are that this fight is about to close." Like I seen them say the Crawford Spence fight was almost closing. The deal was almost set, and they would say the dates and everything. Like they had all that information. I'm a YouTuber and I barely trust myself. Yeah, he's stupid. I know I'm late, but I hope everyone's doing well. What's going on, Nate? What's up? So if Shakur would have said yes to that phone conversation, that fight would have never happened. I don't believe it would have, but that's just, I'm just speculating. I don't know. I don't believe it would have because when it was mandated, he ain't do it. He ain't do it for the mandate. And the mandate actually holds off an additional 10% that for the winner. So if you win, they give that 10% to you. So essentially, he could have rolled it back to like a 20% for himself. Essentially, because they hold 10% back for the winner. So if he felt confident he was going to win, he could have gotten all that stuff. In my opinion, did you not hear the Bill Haney video where Bill Haney was like, the moment it get hot, we moving up to 140. The moment it get hot at 130, we already ready to move to 140. You ain't hear that? When he was talking about Shakur Stevenson, bro, they did exactly what he said in that leaked video. Yeah, that was weird as ASF to me. People act like he's just supposed to accept the offer instead of negotiating. Exactly. It's negotiations. It's not just, take the 25%. You don't want it. I'm not fighting you. That's not how boxing works. That's not how contract negotiations work. You ain't even make a contract. You just telling me 25%. I'm like, whoa, let's talk about this. Oh, you want to talk about it? He don't want the fight. See, guys, I tried. That's not how it works, bro. Again, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Why you can't trust random information from people who have a bias, a YouTuber, etc. That's why you can't trust. Yeah, when people have a bias. If there's someone that is known for getting reliable information, like Mike Coppinger, Mike Benson, etc. If there is someone, exactly, you have to go with reliable sources that there. In my opinion, for example, Mike Benson, Mike Coppinger, Dan Rafael, I don't see any bias come from them. They just tell us what's happening. I've not ever seen them say, "Oh, this person is ducking," or "This person don't want the smoke," or "This person." I've never seen them say anything like that. They just be like, "This is what's gonna happen. This is what's gonna happen." It's the fans that hate hearing stuff like that start telling them other people, "Oh, these people are against this fighter or against that fighter," but really they just saying this is what's going to happen. They don't even really give much of their opinion. They normally just be, "This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen." That's it. I'd rather hear somebody like that tell me an information that's important than is hearing it from somebody who you could tell that they just like one fighter. Because they actually give reliable information about boxing. If someone says Shakur did this, Shakur did that, if that's not by a reliable source, then you shouldn't trust it. Of course, 100%. 100%. The reliable sources, Gettins, is the fact that Shakur Stevenson put a mandate in for the WBC to mandate that Devin Haney fight him for the WBC title, which puts in clear view that Shakur Stevenson wants to fight Devin Haney. It puts it in clear view because that's forcing the fight to happen, or Devin Haney's losing his belt. That's forcing the fight to happen. So that clearly means that, boom, he wants to fight. It clearly means that he wants to fight. All the other stuff, we not gonna know. No one's gonna know for sure. We don't even know for sure if there was a 25% offer ever given to Shakur, or if they just said it. Like, we don't know. But what we do know for sure is that there was a mandate put in place. There was a petition to mandate the fight happen between Devin Haney and Shakur. And that mandate petition was put in place by Shakur and his team, which means Shakur wants to fight. That we know for sure. Everything else is speculation. Everything else is speculation. The offer was made, bro. Shakur should have taken it. No, once again, we don't know for sure, but there was not a contract that was written. And this information comes from the Bob Arum. Bob Arum said there was no contract. We never received a contract. A contract was there. So it could have been just on Twitter. It could have been, he could have just DM'd him. Yo, if you take 25%, we do the fight. And then he's like, all right, hold on, let me get my, like, let's figure out a better number. So, oh no, that's it. That could have been it right there. And everybody's like, oh, you turned it down. He ain't turned it down. He just wanted to continue to negotiate. Floyd did it. Floyd did what? What did he do? It would have been more than anything Shakur ever made. How do you know that? How do you know that? The fight was not going to be pay-per-view. Shakur makes more than like $1 million. Shakur makes like $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. He be making money on his fights. So how do you know that this would have been more than what Shakur makes? How? Where would the money come from? You don't know that. You're just saying that because that's what the Devin Haney said. But we don't know. Because if he says that, Shakur says, that's not more than I made in my last 3 fights. That wouldn't be more than I made in my last 3 fights. So you just choosing to believe one or the other? See, I'm not choosing to believe that Shakur is saying the truth. I'm just choosing to believe none of them. I don't know. Because there's not anything specific that's telling me exactly how much it was. Tank, my guy, cut my boy some slack. Fanatico, LOL. I believe he'll get the big fight soon. Hey, listen, I like Tank. I like Tank. He's entertaining. He's slick. He's a good boxer in there. I like Tank a lot. I like him a lot. He's a knockout fighter with slick, intelligent style. That's rare. I like Tank. Do I think he fights top-tier fighters? No. That's not me trying to knock him down. That's just me pointing out what's happening. He's the regular... The symbolic nature of his belt should tell you everything you need to know about his want to fight the top competitors. He is the regular WBA champion. And he be defending his regular belt. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of people fighting each other for undisputed. And he's nowhere in that conversation. He's just hanging on to his regular belt. The regular belt is the most symbolic thing to tell you that Tank don't fight the top fighters. But does it mean that Tank sucks or Tank is not good? No. Tank has, in terms of the eye test, Tank is good. But we need to see him in there with somebody that's actually competitive in the sense that they're an elite fighter or a high-level fighter. Like what Shakur does. Shakur does that. When Shakur is fighting for the world titles, the world title, even if you don't know who this person is or who that person is, the barometer to know how good a person is if they're a world champion. So for Shakur to take a belt from Oscar Valdez, to take a belt from Jamel Herring, he's fighting the top tier fighters. He's fighting the top tier fighters. Shakur is fighting the top fighters. Tank Davis, he got the eye test and everything. Shakur got the eye test and he's doing it with the top tier fighters. Tank got the eye test, but he's doing it with the low tier fighters. I mean, the man fought Rolly Romero. You guys do understand this, right? The man fought Rolly Romero. Gannon's Gaming Corner, the reliable source, for example, the names I have said above, Mike Coppinger, Michael Benson, etc., whenever they give news about boxing is actually true before it happens. Exactly. That's what it's your historical record that makes you a reliable source. If they constantly say stuff and then boom, 2 days later, 3 days later is what they say exactly to the date, to the arena, to the venue, like we know. Okay, we know. You getting this information, obviously. You don't just have a bunch of Twitter followers for no reason. Stop it. Coppinger is literally a top-ranked PR person. Oh, my gosh. Here we go. He lied about the whole Frank Martin situation. What did he lie about? Grand Regent Thrag, what did he lie about? Did Frank Martin not pull out of the fight? Did Frank Martin and his team not pull out of the fight? Are they fighting Shakur Stevenson right now? He didn't say the details. He probably don't know the details. But he did say exactly what happened. Frank Martin's team was no longer interested. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? And Coppinger can't even get into PBC events. So, maybe he can't get into PBC events because he doesn't do things for the PBC. You don't know what just because what you're saying is that the PBC is the ones that's doing everything correctly and they're just being super honest and Coppinger isn't. We don't know. We don't know. And when Mike Coppinger reports on something, he doesn't add an opinion to his report. He just says, this is what's happening on this date. This is the venue. That's all he says. Didn't Coppinger announce Fury versus AJ fight for November, or was it another fight? He got his name for a reason. You have to understand. If I say this is going to happen on November something, and that fight happens, and then I say this fight is set to happen, sources saying reports are coming that this fight is set to happen on December, and it happens, and this fight in February, and it happens, and this fight and it happens, and this fight. Obviously, there's going to be fights that fall apart. The Fury versus AJ fight was actually going to happen. The reason that fight, see, Gettins, you love, you love removing context so things could fit right into what you're saying. I see what you're doing, man. I see what you're doing. You're hoping that people don't know what's going on. The Fury versus AJ fight was canceled. Why was the Fury versus AJ fight canceled? The Fury versus AJ fight was canceled to push the fight with Fury versus Deontay Wilder, because Deontay Wilder had the rematch clause instated in the contract, so they couldn't circumvent him for the AJ fight. So it wasn't that he was lying about the AJ fight. That's what they were trying to do. But they were trying to do it behind, without Wilder, and Wilder wasn't willing to take step aside money. So legally, contractually, if he didn't want to get sued, because Wilder could have put an astronomical number and be like, oh, you didn't fight me and you fought AJ, that's going to cause this much financial damage to me. And he would have to pay that. So they were forced into the fight. Come on, bro. You know that you know this. You know that you know this, but you're going to not talk about that so that you could be like, oh, remember this one time he said that and it didn't happen? Like, yes, he's getting reports of things. For example, there were reports coming from every direction that Errol Spence was going to fight Terrence Crawford, but then it fell apart. And then we saw them talk about it falling apart. But before we even knew that they were talking about it happening in October, before we even knew, we were getting the reports from the reliable sources. And then the reliable sources were like, yo, it didn't happen. It fell apart for some reason, whatever. And then we got the video with Crawford talking on the live, talking about why he couldn't make the fight and all this stuff. So things are not perfect. If they say something's going to happen and it don't happen, it's because it falls apart. And we see that it falls apart. We see that it falls apart. But when you're constantly landing the dates and the arenas and everything perfectly, bro, you're getting the information directly from the source. This streamer W. Yo, this is hilarious. He lied when he said the fight was made. He lied when he said that the fight was made. He lied when he said what fight was made. He lied when he said what fight was made, Grand Regis, because we about to, Grand Regis, this is, I don't know, man. You sounded like you in an echo chamber right now and you just fell into the wrong spot because we about to expose the echo chamber. He lied when he said what fight wasn't made. The Frank Martin fight, or we talking about the one I just debunked? Which one? Either I already debunked it or I'm about to debunk it. Which one? Fire. Devin Haney ducked. Frank Martin ducked. Most people in the light division ducked, etc. Like, you can't say Shakur is ducking Haney when he actually put the contract out there for Haney to sign. Exactly. He actually put it so that Haney would lose his belt if he doesn't fight him. That's how you know he want to fight him. Clearly, he's not afraid of fighting Devin Haney. So this is the stuff again. I don't know if Guinness is still in here, but this is the stuff that they do where they take information and they use it to manipulate the thought process of what's going on. They won't tell you that he tried to ask for the WBC to mandate the fight. They won't tell you that. They'll just say, hey, remember that he didn't take the 25%? He didn't want the fight. But how can he not have wanted the fight if he put in a petition to mandate for the fight? Yeah, but that, like, let's talk about that he didn't want the 25% and a contract was sent to him. Contract was never sent to him. Contract was never sent to him. Contract was never sent to him. So, what's going on? But he did a mandate. That proves that he wants to fight. That's not talk, and maybe a contract was or not or whatever they talking whatever. But the mandatory, that's automatic for real. That is a locked in thing that if it doesn't get fulfilled, Devin Haney loses his belt. So, here we go. Wait, here we go. Oh, my guy, Kiwi, where's PBC? Where? He said Martin versus Shakat was made. Oh my gosh, Frank, Grant, you done did it. You done did it. The WBC canceled the purse bid. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand what canceling the purse bid means in boxing? The only way that a purse bid can cancel, especially at the 11th hour, the only way is if both camps communicate to the WBC that they are okay with the negotiations and they're going through with the fight. They're okay on all stipulations. Nothing is holding the fight back. They are going to go forward with the fight. That's the only way the WBC can cancel a purse bid. They can't cancel the purse bid because Mike Coppinger goes, hey, you know, Frank Martin signed it already. Oh, for real, Mike? Damn, thank you. Thank you for telling me. All right, cool. Now I'm going to cancel the purse bid. That's not how a purse bid. You have to formally cancel a purse bid by both parties coming together and agreeing that the fight has been made. All stipulations. Money, venue, everything. That's the reason why they had the venue. You think the venue this quickly just popped out of nowhere? The date and everything, those things take time. Those things are thought. They're brainstormed. A team comes together to put these things together and put it in the contract. Why is Shakur fighting in the same date that he was supposed to fight Frank Martin in? Because they actually came all the way full circle with the contract. Frank Martin pulled out at the last second after they canceled the purse bid. And then I find this funny, and he offered Frank pennies. I find that this is where you expose yourself, Grant. You expose yourself because you clearly are locked in on the echo chamber. If Frank is offered pennies, but Shakur should have took the 25%. This is what you're saying. Frank is offered pennies, but Shakur, he should take the 25%. We know for a fact that Frank would have made more money in this fight than he would have in the last one, in his other fights. And Coppinger, by the way, is not my boy. He's just a reliable source. The same way Dan Rafael is not my boy. The same way ESPN is not my boy. The same way Mike Benson is not my boy. Y'all just hate Mike Coppinger because he reported on the thing that y'all didn't want him to report on because it made Frank Martin look bad. Just say that. Just say, I don't like that he was the one that reported it. I don't like that he exposed that. Don't say, oh, he a liar. And what about the Fury versus AJ? That fight never got made. But let's leave out the fact that it was because Deontay Wilder intercepted it and they had to do the rematch clause that was he was contractually obligated to do. Let's not talk about that. You know, let's just pretend like he just said something and then it just didn't happen. Come on, man. Grant, it's not too late, bro. I know that it's hard, especially if you've been fed one echo chamber. Especially if you've been fed one echo chamber for years, right? Groupthink is hard, right? It's part of who you are. You feel like it is you. You feel that is part of who you are because you've agreed with it for so many years. You've been part of it for so many years. Ripping that out of you is like ripping out a piece of your arm. But it ain't too late, man. It ain't too late. You don't have to keep sticking inside that mindset. Break out of that, bro. Just look in the mirror and just compare your own notes. You talking about Shakur is ducking for 25%, but Frank Martin was getting pennies. There's no logical consistency. You can't say that in one breath and then say this in the other breath without just flat out being biased. And it's not your fault, bro. You've probably been in this echo chamber for a long time. It's hard. It's like part of who you are. But it ain't too late, my man. It ain't too late. You can get out of it, man. We believe in you. You can get out of it. Man. Grand Region threat. If it was about the money, Martin should have gave a counter instead of just declining to sign the contract. No, Fire. We're going to do one better. If it was about the money, then he should have let it go to the purse bid where he's guaranteed minimum 30%. If it was about the money, why'd he cancel the purse bid? Grand? The only time you cancel the purse bid is if you already indicate to the WBC with the both parties that all stipulations are final. You good to go. You don't need the purse bid. You're good. I'm all right with the money. I'm all right with the venue. I'm all right with the stipulations. I'm all right with the date. I'm all right with the contract. That's the only, because if you don't do that, that means negotiations is still snagged. WBC puts it into a purse bid where you have 30 days to try to negotiate. That's how that works. Well, there you go. That's where he gets his information. That's why it's just connected to you, bro. Jake Donovan is basically the PBC, bro. That man basically the PBC. And then you're getting it from the PBC. I mean, there we go. There we go. Oh, totally forgot about that. My apologies. Yeah, fine. Don't worry, man. Don't worry. It's all good, man. It's all good. But we went a little bit over. We went 20 minutes over, man. This is, yeah. Everybody that comes in to debate always comes in late for the debates. It's like y'all purposely want me to go over my time. But it's whatever. It's whatever. Basically, moral of the story is, my man said a tiny bit over. Moral of the story is, these debates are, yeah, I love them. I love them. That's why I stayed. That's why I be staying, because I love debating. Like, that's just what I love doing. That's my thing. But the moral of the story is, it's okay, man. It's okay. Just rip it out, man. Like, just try it. You know what I'm saying? Just think, oh, man, Frank Martin and Shakur Stevenson situation is similar. I can't pretend like one is not the same as the other. So now let me look at this impartially. Just do that and then be like, okay, now that it's similar, what did Frank Martin do that was leaning towards him trying to get the fight done? He canceled the WBC purse bid. That does not look like he was trying to push the fight, because that he would mean that he agreed, but then he didn't agree after. What did Shakur Stevenson do? Oh, he put a petition in for mandatory status, and it was granted, and it was an official date, and Devin Haney had to relinquish the belts because of this. So Shakur was pushing to, okay, Shakur really wanted to fight, but Frank Martin, like, if I'm just looking at the facts that we have, that's all you need to do, bro. That's all you need to do. But you gonna do the biggest mental gymnastics and all this stuff and all this crazy stuff. You gonna do that just because you stuck? Oh, man. Xander fights. Let's wrap this up. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Xander about to fight. We gotta wrap this up. We gotta wrap this up. All right, man. Yeah, bro. If those are your sources. And those are your sources. This is why you feel this way, because you're getting sources. You're getting a source that's completely biased, bro. No, he didn't. Shakur is a diva that thinks himself higher than what he's actually worth. So is Frank Martin a diva? Logical consistency, my mans. Logical consistency. Is Frank Martin a diva? Is Frank Martin a diva? Answer the question. Is Frank Martin a diva? Because he's in a worse position than Shakur. Because Shakur, first of all, Shakur was going to get minimum 30%. I mean, maximum 30%. If he won another 10% on top. But he was going to get maximum 30 or minimum 30%. If it went to mandatory. If it went to the mandatory. So that's being a diva? Frank Martin just said no after he said yes. Where he could have said no and then had a better position at 30% with the purse bid. My man said, I'm buying into the top ranked narratives. Bro, what narrative? There's no narrative. The WBC had a purse bid that was canceled. That's not a narrative. That's what happened. The WBC had a purse bid that was canceled because both parties agreed to all the stipulations. Only after it was canceled, the Frank Martin's team and Frank Martin, whoever, decided that they were no longer interested in the fight. That's not narratives, bro. That's not narratives. That's just the facts. Even if you don't want to believe Mike Coppinger, throw Mike Coppinger out of the equation. The WBC had a purse bid that was canceled. Oh man, bro. So I tried to get you to rip that out of you, but it's too connected to it's connected to your medulla oblongata in your brain, bro. It's not you. There's nothing we can do, guys. We're done. We're done here. Anyways, we'll see you, of course, every Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern time to 8 p.m. Eastern time. Sometimes, now we just went 30 minutes, but sometimes we go a little bit over if there's debates. But Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss the live streams because these are fun as heck. We had a blast today. I know you guys had a blast today. I had a blast today. All right. Until the next one, guys, we'll see you on Monday. Oh, hit the like on your way out, guys. Please hit the like on your way out. It helps the channel. People watch these videos after the fact, and we want them to find reliable sources. Ain't that right, Grant? We want them to find reliable sources that actually go to to using evidence that's reliable, like coaches and promoters and things of that nature. Not just some guy named Jake Donovan. All right, until the next one, peace out.